everybody's competition. Everybody's competition. When you get on the starting line, everybody that's on that line is competition. It doesn't mean they're man, woman, whoever they are. Everybody's equal at that point, so you're always trying to beat everybody, Liz.
Catherine Switzer was a college student studying journalism at Syracuse University when she asked permission to run with the men's cross-country team. She trained with Arnie Briggs, a mailman who assisted the cross-country team in his spare time. Together with Briggs, Catherine trained for the 1967 Boston Marathon. Signing her name as K.V. Switzer, she did not specify that she was a female. When she ran the race with Arnie and her boyfriend, Tom Miller, a large-boned hammer thrower from Syracuse University, she was recognized as a female. When the race's director, Jock Semple, tried to physically remove her from the race, her boyfriend knocked him down and they continued to run. Catherine ran the marathon for the same reason anyone else would, to prove to oneself that such a feat can be accomplished. However, her defiance of the rules triggered major women's movement in distance running. Finally, in 1972, women were allowed to enter the Boston Marathon.
Hey, that's a girl! Get that woman out of my race! Men only! Men only!
How do you feel physically after running a marathon?
Death. I'm mostly kidding. When I finished, I was hurt really bad. I remember there was these iron gates, and my family was on the other side, and they're like, "Come over," and I tried to jump. I mean, I would have had to jump a foot, and I almost started crying. I couldn't do it. Like 3 of them reached over and grabbed my body and pulled me over. I mean, that's basically how I was feeling. But a week later, I'm very happy I ran it. I mean, it was a good feeling. Besides the pain.
I feel good after, but like a couple hours later, it starts to hit me. I get very tired. I get nauseous, and once that passes, I'm okay. But as long as I eat and drink something, I'm good to go after. It takes a couple hours, but I feel all right after that.
How many marathons have you run?
I have run 34 marathons in my lifetime.
What is your motivation?
I'm kind of just out to beat my times, to run well. I'm not really competing against anybody in particular.
My motivation is just self-motivation. I've always been competitive my whole life, and I always like to challenge myself. So the bigger the challenge, the harder I like to work. So that's my motivation to beat myself.
How did you train?
The marathon, my training was pretty intense. It would involve about 110 to 120 miles a week of training. It would be double sessions 5 days a week. I would run a medium long run on the middle of the week, about 15 miles, and on the weekend, my long day, Sunday, I would run anywhere from, on average, 22 to 28 miles for my long run.
How did you first start running?
I was a pretty good football player, and then suddenly I got real skinny, and then I couldn't play football anymore. So I was doing my paper route. I saw these groups of people running, and I'm like, "Who's that?" Somebody's like, "That's the cross-country team." I had nothing to do, so I'm like, "I'll do that tomorrow." Everybody's like, "Don't do it. Running it hurts. It stinks. It's bad." I went out, and a week later I had my first race, and I got second for the team. So I was hooked, and I was like, "Gotta run."
Started just pretty much as you guys did, just in high school. There was I tried different sports. I was okay, but I thought I was pretty fast, so I said, let me just try out for the track team, and it just started from there, and I found out I was pretty quick, and I just stuck with track after that. And I just did it all through high school and through college, and after college, and still going.
Do you view women as competition?
When I was in 9th grade, just started running. My first race was actually a jamboree, and the captains took me aside, and they said, "Listen, you're going to be running this race with girls. If a girl passes you, fake an injury and go down immediately." And I looked at this guy like, well, he was an idiot. But true enough, an hour later, one of the other freshmen was running, and I top girl in the league, went right by him, he went down. I don't know, I think if you're younger, people still hold on to that stereotype, but I see so many girls that are amazing now that it doesn't bother me at all when they pass me. Just like, well, no more than the guy passing me, I do my best.
Did it hurt your self-esteem when you saw hordes of women passing you?
No, because I knew that was going to happen, and good for them. They were a lot faster than I was. I can remember when I was younger, first time I ran actually one of the races at Braintree, and I went out hard, and then a female runner went by me, and I tried to stay up with her, and there was no chance. She was just very good. From this point on, I've seen so many talented female runners. It doesn't bother me when they're talented. They'll be in front of me. It doesn't bother me. But if there was a woman right next to me, same as a guy, I'm going to try to beat them in that last 100 meters. But yeah, I wouldn't say women as a whole is competition. Hey, if they're up with me, good for them. I'll do my best to beat them. I would be lying if I didn't say 5% of me is like, I got to try to stick with her. But, I mean, there's so many talented people. At this point, I know how nasty they are. Good for them. No, it doesn't really bother me anymore.
And what are your thoughts on women running?
On a serious note, I know women didn't have the same opportunities as men about 30 years ago, and I know that's come a long way. In fact, our current female cross-country team is pretty impressive. So I guess what I would say is things are looking pretty good for women. And
You didn't get the amount of women running today that you did back then. It was very, very few. And in fact, back then, women who ran marathons were looked upon as kind of odd. And they just didn't seem like they were, athletic enough to complete a marathon. But now that's all changed.
Being a woman, I figured I was just different, and I figured other women didn't get it. And I figured that there was a reason that there were no intercollegiate sports in major universities for women, and I figured, okay, look, I'm just different, I get it, I love running, and I'll run with the men. And it wasn't until that experience in the Boston Marathon, where the official tried to throw me out of the race, did I realize that a lot of women would run and would participate, but were afraid to, or society had told them that it was either dangerous or inappropriate, and they were therefore not going to participate. So when I did run Boston, I realized A, how lucky I was, and B, how obligated I felt to create opportunities for other women. It was snowing and sleeting, and we'd signed up for the race. My coach had gone in and picked up our numbers in the gym and came out and pinned them on. And we started the race with guys knowing I was a woman and saying, hey, it's great that a woman was here. So my welcome was terrific. And about a mile and a half, 2 miles into the race came a honking of horns and beeping and asking, people yelling at the runners to get over. And it was a press truck coming barreling through, a big flatbed truck, and on the back of it were photographers. And when they got in front of us, driving forward and shooting backwards, they saw, oh, a woman is in the race and she's wearing numbers. And they got very excited, looked up my name in the program and started firing questions and taking pictures. Then all of a sudden, there was a scraping noise behind me of somebody else running, but not in running shoes. I quickly turned, and all of a sudden, I was pounced on by this fearsome-looking man who was screaming at me and grabbing me by the shoulders, saying, get the hell out of my race and give me those numbers. And this turned out to be Jock Semple, who is the race co-director. And my coach screamed at him, leave her alone, she's okay, I've trained her. And he said, stay out of this. And he grabbed me again and tried to pull my numbers off. And I tried to run and get away from him. I was just absolutely terrified. When my boyfriend, who happened to be an ex-All-American football player, was running alongside, and he threw a cross-body block into Jock Semple and sent Jock Semple flying through the air. Jock landed on the side of the road, and my coach said, run like hell. And down the street we went.
Now that's off the cuff without me thinking much about that answer.
That's pretty good. It's still taping, too.
Right, listen to the outtakes.
Run, 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 take the dragon too. Run, 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 gypsy death for you. Hey, what you do?